A low-key deal has raised royal eyebrows in London's upscale Belgravia, where white stucco terraces sparkle in mellow city light. The Duchess of York, Sarah, has sold her exquisite Mews house, but not for financial gain. Not at all. Once one of the most photographed women in Britain, the former royal bride has lost almost £500,000. This most recent chapter has many wondering, was this merely a routine sale or a desperate move to keep the crumbling grandeur of Royal Lodge afloat? For a woman who has long been familiar with both luxury and scandal. The work of Sarah Ferguson. A financial story has always seemed to be a contemporary morality tale with a royal setting. Yes, she was a charming and humorous woman, but she was also prone to bad luck, snap judgments, and expensive errors. She reportedly spent £25 million on a property in Belgravia in 2022. She paid with cash, without a loan or mortgage, a direct purchase. Her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, were intended to invest in the house. Many praised it as a wise, forward-thinking decision. However, only 3 years later the house disappeared. Quietly sold for $85 million in August. A loss of $400,000. Most people have a little fortune. Sarah's, however, follows a well-known pattern. A tale with more questions than answers, with money coming in and going out. Her spokesperson's formal answer seemed nearly innocuous. She had no intention of selling. It felt like an excellent moment to sell, and the tenant wanted to buy it, he said. The funds will be reinvested in line with the investment made for her girls. However, there is a much more nuanced reality concealed behind those measured phrases. Because in Fergie's world, time is crucial as always. The Duchess's reputation was already suffering when she consented to the sale. A long shadow had been cast by a scandal that had resurfaced from the past, but was not brand new. Professional repercussions and disgrace ensued. A number of charities that were once honored to have her as an ambassador or patron suddenly broke off their relationship. Her email exchanges, private remarks from years ago have come to light again. They presented an image that was, at best, innocent, and at worst, disastrous for their reputation. In an instant, she was once again on the defensive, defending what little she had left of her reputation, her dignity, and most importantly, her money. Sarah Ferguson has lived on the brink of two worlds for a long time, you see. In one, she continues to be the amiable face of the contemporary monarchy, a grandmother, the mother of two beloved princesses, and a woman who openly discusses kindness and mental health. However, in the other, she's a character plagued by debt and business, mistakes and misguided endeavors, high ambitions and hard lessons, failed endorsements, missed payments, and the occasional bailout from high-ranking pals are all part of her financial biography. As a result, many royal observers viewed her selling her Belgravia house at a loss as a consequence rather than a coincidence. After all, Belgravia isn't just any postcode. With its embassies, billionaires, and old money aristocrats, it is one of London's crown jewels. In recent years, the cost of real estate there has somewhat decreased. The market has cooled down, particularly in the premium sector. Belgravia properties are still more than 20% below their high, according to the Coop's London Prime Property Index. The Duchess's $400,000 loss is therefore, on paper, consistent with the market. However, few people think this was just a real estate market ploy, because Sarah Ferguson's financial decisions are rarely made in a vacuum. Royal Lodge, the expansive 30-room, a Grade 2 listed castle in Windsor that she and her ex-husband Prince Andrew occupy and which is surrounded by well-kept grounds and royal history, is the focal point of her universe. It has been both a haven and a burden for years, having formerly housed the Queen Mother herself. Despite being long divorced, their ongoing residency there has caused controversy and occasionally ire in royal circles, particularly after King Charles's coronation. The Yorks have objected, pointing to a long-term lease agreement that permits Andrew to stay at Royal Lodge until 2078, so long as he keeps it up to par. The new monarch is said to have urged Andrew to downsize to Frogmore Cottage, the former residence of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And that is where the issue is. A cottage is not what Royal Lodge is. The enormous ancient property requires a small sum in upkeep. The cost of staff, security, heating and roof repairs mounts up. According to estimates, the annual maintenance may easily amount to between $400,000 and $500,000, if not more. Additionally, the money now has to come from somewhere else, unlike in the past when the Duke had a reliable source of revenue from royal obligations. Where precisely? Nobody knows for sure. Many, however, started to make connections when the Duchess sold her Belgravia house, right when speculation about the couple's financial situation resurfaced. Was it a good moment to sell, or was it a calculated attempt to provide financial support to a household under increasing strain, as her spokesperson asserted? For Sarah, the loss may have been more about time than money. A measured sacrifice might have been a $400,000 hit. A temporary setback in order to maintain stability over time. Simply put, the expense of staying at Royal Lodge can be greater than the pride of holding on to a London investment. Additionally, it can be more difficult to find new earning prospects in the wake of the recent controversy. Once her lifeline in terms of money and prestige, charities are leaving. Although it hasn't completely disappeared, popular compassion has waned and corporate brands are wary. The Duchess's charisma, which used to make her a popular talk show guest and a marketable personality for lifestyle and health products, no longer ensures consistent revenue. She gained some respect as a result of her health struggle in 2023, her breast cancer diagnosis, and her subsequent skin cancer worry. However, for a lady who is still living in the royal realm but outside of the royal purse, the goodwill has not translated into financial security. Being in this situation is risky. To comprehend how one must examine how the Yorks got to this stage in order to understand how perilous it really is. The removal of Andrew's royal responsibilities essentially eliminated his public funding. All that was left were his private investments, his naval pension and rumoured family assistance. For her part, Sarah has experimented with everything from lifestyle branding to publishing to even penning romantic novels. Some business endeavours yielded minor profits. Others brought mockery. However, the revenue from a few book sales is insufficient to maintain Royal Lodge, a representation of status and resistance. The most contentious home on the Windsor estate has long been rumoured to be experiencing financial difficulties. According to reports, maintenance work is delayed and contractors are not paid. It has been suggested that even seemingly little things, such as overgrown gardens or peeling paint, indicate pressure behind the palace walls. Therefore, royal observers did not perceive the Belgravia transaction as coincidental when it was announced. They witnessed a woman selling her assets to stay afloat due to pressure from both private debt and public embarrassment. The Duchess of York's quarters are getting smaller, at least in a symbolic sense, even though the walls aren't actually closing in. Think about the visuals. She takes a financial setback when she sells a house in London. She apparently invests a lot of money on maintaining the lavish Windsor estate where she now resides. It's a sharp contrast. It conveys the possibly unintended but clear message that upholding royal appearances still comes before sound financial judgment. And if that image costs a couple $100,000 on a mansion in London, then so be it. Sarah Ferguson, however, has never been one to concede. She continues to be positive, even defiant in public. Her spokesman insists on using the money raised from the sale of Belgravia to support her daughters. Although it's a commendable gesture, people who have watched her career are aware that reinvestment can imply a variety of ways. Few women in public life, after all, have undergone as frequent or significant a metamorphosis as Fergie. She has lived through cycles of demise and redemption with a rhythm that is almost theatrical, from scandal to charitable work, from exile to acceptance. But there has been a price for every return,